Good morning. Now is the time set aside for a public hearing regarding the 2020-2024 analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. Mr. Wheeler.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you very much for making this time available. You all may remember that the Cumberland County is up for a renewal of its urban county status with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that will have influence on community development block grant, the HUM program, and other programs we get from HUD. There are several different aspects of completing the work for the urban county designation. In addition to preparing the 5-year plan and an annual plan for CDBG and HUD, we also are required to prepare this analysis of impediments to fair housing choice here in the county. As a part of our work, we contracted with Michael Baker International to make sure that we had a solid third-party review of the work, to make sure that we're fully in compliance with HUD's requirements, and we do good faith effort on behalf of the county. So this morning I have with me Vanessa Schamberg with Michael Baker International that will walk us through the slide presentation that we submitted to you previously through Sandy. Again, our thanks to Sandy and Jennifer for their assistance in this process. So without further ado, Vanessa.
Thank you. Good morning. Again, my name is Vanessa Schamberg with Michael Baker. Since Tim provided an overview of the AI, I'm going to jump in beginning on slide 4 to describe the contents of the plan and then provide a brief summary of the findings that we did find. So what the AI looks at is we evaluate socioeconomic trends, including population, household income, and housing characteristics of protected classes. The plan also evaluates public and private sector policies that impact fair housing in the county and the borough of Carlisle. We seek to identify blatant or de facto impediments to fair housing, and then of course coming up with recommendations on how to address those impediments. In terms of the purpose of the document then, there's really 5 key elements to it. Again, it's to analyze housing discrimination and seek to eliminate it, promote fair housing choice for all individuals in the community, provide racially and ethnically inclusive patterns of housing occupancy, promote physically accessible and usable housing for all individuals, and foster compliance with the Fair Housing Act. In terms of our process, we did do a robust citizen participation plan beginning in January this year, providing several opportunities for members of the public as well as stakeholders to come out and engage in dialogue to help us determine what are the core issues occurring in the county today. It included 3 focus groups in January and February, as well as 13 one-on-one interviews with pertinent stakeholders. We also conducted 2 public meetings, so one in the borough of Carlisle as well as one in the borough of Shippensburg, to hear public input. And we conducted an online survey that was available for 2 months over the course of February and March of 2019. In addition, we held a very successful housing summit on March 8th, where 57 members of the community came out and participated in a morning session with several speakers, where the topics were all focused on fair housing and discrimination. It was a wonderful day, again, well attended, and a lot of good dialogue that occurred. And then, of course, we're wrapping up citizen participation with 2 public hearings. So this morning with the county, and then this evening we'll be presenting the same presentation at the Borough Council meeting in Carlisle. Beginning on slide 8, there are several slides where we review the findings. I'm going to go through these relatively quickly since you have reviewed the PowerPoints, but we certainly can take questions then. So slide 8, the map shown just shows the location of low to moderate income census block groups throughout the county. Slide 9 is a heat map showing where families below the poverty line are living. You can see this dispersed throughout the county. The dark blue and green shades are showing the locations of families below poverty by percentage based on that legend there in the lower right-hand corner. Slide 10, minority populations. Again, this is a heat map showing where higher percentages of families of minorities are living in the county. The eastern section or portions of the county do have the higher percentages of those families. Slide 11 is showing where racially and ethnically concentrated areas of poverty are located in the county. And this map looks a little bit different. Those areas are in the borough of Shippensburg, borough of Carlisle, and then some of the communities in the eastern portion of the county, such as Lemoyne, Camp Hill, Lower Allen, and so forth. Slide 12, in terms of house cost burden, real quick, some of the statistics that we identified between 2010 and 2017. I think as many of you know, home values have continued to rise by 11.2% over that time period. The gross median rent has more than doubled that at 24.2%. At the same time, household income only increased by 8.8%, so that's demonstrating the increasing cost burden that housing is. In terms of percentage of families that are actually cost burden, where they're dedicating 30% or more of their income on housing, for homeowners, it's 19.2%, and for renters, it's 41.3%. Slide 13 is showing generally, just again, housing availability and cost. It's showing that average sale prices have increased over the past 5 years, while the average day on the market has decreased on the tight real estate market. So again, it's showing limited availability and a higher price of housing stock. Likewise, rental units renting for less than 1,000 and less than 500 have decreased over the most recent 5-year period, while units renting for greater than 1,000 per month has increased by 123%. Current median rent, 1 bedroom, 790, 2 bedrooms in the county currently rent for a little over 1,000. Slide 15, I won't go over this, but this is showing what affordable housing cost looks like for persons in the very low income bracket, low income bracket, and moderate income bracket, based on whether 1, 2, 3, or 4 people are living in that household. Slide 16 then, some of the barriers and impediments that were identified, limitations on site selection in terms of lot size and affordability. Affordable housing is not located near employment centers. Likewise, access to jobs and workforce training and career education is an impediment and barrier. Availability of accessible housing units, significant regulatory requirements to obtain and spend priority housing funds. In terms of goals then for the plan, there are several of them on slides 17 and 18. I'll read these as well. So the first goal, reduce homelessness for protected classes, increase affordable housing opportunities, create innovative construction models for affordable housing, create public awareness of fair housing laws and affordable housing advocacy, create local and regional policy changes that benefit low to moderate income households, address state and federal conditions placed on housing development, increase home ownership, improve housing opportunities for individuals with disabilities, train and employ all work-age individuals, and improve the quality of life for low to moderate income individuals or areas. In terms of next step, as you know, the Cumberland County Redevelopment and Housing Authorities have reviewed the draft plan and their comments have been incorporated at this time. The plan is also available for public comment, which we're actively receiving. It's available online as well as several locations in hard copy throughout the county. In terms of next steps, a local adoption by the county will occur, I believe, next week, and then the document will be submitted to HUD at the end of the month, and they will have 45 days to provide comment to us. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and open it up for any questions.
Board have any questions?
I'll just make a comment as the liaison to our Housing and Redevelopment Authority. This is not new, what you're talking about here. I think one of the biggest challenges we face in the future here in Cumberland County is the issue of affordable housing. Vince, Gary, and I were just at a realtor's breakfast a week ago where essentially we underscored again that there's a high demand for moderate priced homes and not enough of that kind of housing. We also have a study that we're waiting for that Shippensburg University, I think, has been working on. But at the end of the day, I think what's going to be needed is to bring in all the stakeholders, our builders, the government agencies and to try to see what we can do to meet this challenge. And it is a real challenge. I don't know whether any of you have had an opportunity to look at the report that was done, pretty extensive report done by the Pennsylvania United Way. And it identifies a population that they talk about as asset limited, income, I get this right, asset limited, income constrained, employed people who are working, who are struggling every day to make ends meet. And 31% of the county's population, nearly a third, is part of Alice. And that's something I think that, we all need to take note of and try to work toward seeing how we're going to resolve this issue. I mean, these aren't people that are loafing. These are people that essentially are going to work every day. And, if they had a major breakdown of their automobile, they would put them potentially on the street. They don't have the income to take care of a car repair. So, in any event, it's a challenge. Now, the good news is that statewide, according to the United Way, it's 37%. That's not good news, but 37% of the population. So we're a little bit lower than that. But if you have a chance to look at that report on the Pennsylvania United Way website, it really tells a story. There's a lot of good research there. But in any event, yeah, we got to pull together. We got to figure out how we're going to address this need. And we're the fastest growing county in the state of Pennsylvania. We got to take care and figure out a way to deal with the housing shortage that we have. So.
Are there any other questions?
I don't have a topic-specific question, but as an observation, I mean, direct this to, but this is a public hearing, and it's all well and good that we have this. It's very well done. Obviously, a lot of time and energy invested in this. We should have a PowerPoint slide up for the members of the public, since this is a public hearing. So commissioners have they need for decision making, but in terms of public input, you did a very nice job outlining it and following along. It's just a lot easier. There's something for everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that too. Hopefully we could put it up on the smart board, whatever we call it these days. But maybe we can make it available on our county's website or something.
Yeah.
If there's anyone in the audience who would like a copy of it, you can certainly have
I
it.
have 2 copies I can show.
Thank you. If anyone else would like a copy, please notify our chief clerk. Does any staff have any questions? Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Mr. Hurst, will you comment about the,
You have your name, sir.
excuse me, good morning, everyone, Joe Lacey.
Thank you.
Indeed. Mr. Hurst, will you comment about the breakfast meeting the other day with the realtors in the area per se, and comments about moderate priced home/housing? What is the cost parameter of a moderate priced home that they're referencing?
Well, I mean, the highest demand right now that's not available is somewhere in the range of about $100,000 to $300,000. So, for a lot of folks starting out, that's still out of reach. But that's essentially where we have a dearth, if you will, of available housing in that price range.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Public hearing, yes.
I just want to say thank you, commissioners, for allowing this public hearing here today. And we'll be moving forward on this. And again, there are copies of this that have been available not only through our offices on our website, but also through public libraries throughout the county for the full report. So thank you, sir.
Public hearings closed. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the October 2nd, 2019 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call this meeting in order at 9:15, and at this time, open the floor to public comment. Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 3, and I'll call on Commissioner DiFilippo to present Sharon Lacey with an award for her 45 years of service to Cumberland County. Sharon, Judge Maslin, will you please come forward? Yes.
You don't look 45.
I know.
Congratulations. Wow.
Okay, I'm
We are-
46, if anybody wants to know.
We are celebrating Sharon Lacey's 45 years of service with the county. She was hired in June 1974 as Department Clerk 2, Clerk of Courts. I was still in high school. Promoted November 1984 to Second Deputy Clerk of Courts. Transferred December 1993 to the courts as Judge Bailey's secretary. And promoted January 1996 to Administrative Supervisor, and currently working for Judge Maslin. Sharon, congratulations and thank you for your many years of service. Would you like to say a few things?
I'm not going to be here another 45.
It's understandable.
If I may, I actually was going to recognize her husband, Joe Lacey, who's here. I thought he was here because he wanted to see how someone who's 49 could receive. But he's already engaged in the public comment hearing, so maybe you had other reasons. Sharon and I actually both celebrated our 45th high school reunions this year. I can say, guaranteed, that Sharon, of the two of us, has been more productive. She hit the ground running a lot faster than I have, and fortunately, she's still running and keeping me moving as well. So thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome, thank you.
You want to pick me up?
Take a couple in case one blanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Commissioner remain standing.
Yeah, that's
I'll move to 6. Okay, I would like to ask Mark and Darren to please come forward to be presented with the proclamation and recognition of cybersecurity awareness month.
Right, yes, we have a proclamation. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and our proclamation reads in part, whereas the County of Cumberland recognizes it has a vital role in identifying, protecting, and responding to cyber threats that may have significant impact to our individual, collective security, and privacy. Whereas critical infrastructure sectors are increasingly reliant on information systems to support financial services, energy, telecommunications, transportation, utilities, healthcare, and emergency response systems. And whereas National Cybersecurity Awareness Month emphasizes personal accountability and the importance of taking proactive steps to enhance cybersecurity at home and in the workplace. This year's overarching message is own it, secure it, protect it. Focuses on key areas including citizen privacy, consumer devices, and e-commerce security. And whereas the President of the United States of America, the United States Department of Homeland Security, the Multi-State Informational Sharing and Analysis Center, the National Association of State Chief Information Officers, and the National Cybersecurity Alliance have declared October as National Security Awareness Month. Now therefore, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month in Cumberland County, presented this second day of October from the Cumberland County Commissioners. Gentlemen, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just thank you for, again, recognizing October. This is an important month. We really focus on the cybersecurity aspect of things this month, but we really do it all year. It's all a year-round thing. This year's theme is pretty much personal accountability, whereas in the past, it's always been our shared responsibility. It's still our shared responsibility, but if you're not going to do it yourself, things are going to be bad. So we'll be sending out emails throughout the month. We're working with the communications team. They'll be posting things on Facebook for the community. Thank you to Alex. Alex will be sending out phishing emails and really ramping up the emails to our employees. And thanks to Mark for, again, letting us do all this. So, thank you.
We're happy to be partners with the Department of Homeland Security, so a big national awareness month as well. And the key is, you know, Darren said, we focus a lot on security on a day-to-day basis, but this hopefully will get the public to focus on security as well. You know, keeping their bank accounts secure, keeping their email and things like that, aware of the phishing attacks that come along. And so whatever we do for the employees here, maybe they can take that home and then share that knowledge with friends and family and things like that.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Same couple pictures. Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to agenda item 4, and I'll call on 10:21 p.m. To add any additional information you'd like to add on the public hearing that was recently held at the beginning of the meeting, and to entertain any additional questions.
So again, thank you all for the opportunity. We realize this is very difficult work. I'd like to, I guess, also support what Commissioner Hertzler was talking about the affordable housing study. We've had, actually, Kirk Stoner and I have been working very closely with Shippensburg University Land Use Institute and Sustainability Institute. We are actively working on that now. We are also planning to have some stakeholder meetings after that report is available. That will probably take place in the spring of next year. So we realize affordable housing and the creation of affordable housing is an important issue here in the county, especially when we see so many of the renters are what are viewed as rent burden, paying more than 30% of their household income. Also have with me this morning, if you'll allow me just one more other indulgence, Chris Rafferty. Chris, can you stand up for a moment, please? Chris has just joined our staff on Monday as our new community development director. So comes with us experience out of the city of Baltimore, and although they're a neighbor of ours, York County, we consider them cooperative folks rather than competitors. So we're happy to have Chris join our staff to help with this work and many others.
Welcome, Chris.
But if any other questions or concerns with regards to...
I would just like to make this comment, and I appreciate all the studies that have been done. What really is going to be important is what we're going to do about it. And that, again, I think is going to require bringing all the stakeholders, the builders, landlords, all the groups together. And, our housing assistance program, the folks at the CADIC, the Housing Redevelopment Authority, the banks, and some of the other entities that are involved in housing. So, it really is going to take a collaborative effort, and it's going to take some focus. The studies tell us we have a problem. Okay? The question is now, we're going to do something about it.
Agreed. Thank you all for your help. Thank you, sir.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item 5, and I'll call on Dana to discuss budget resolution 2019-29.
So I have to say, I pitched in for Tammy. She became a grandma this morning at 5:30. So, woohoo, another grandma.
From one to another.
Yeah, and I became another grandma to number 4 3 weeks ago. So life is good. So this budget resolution is increasing the capital funds bond by $125,000 for the P25 project. And that was currently budgeted in 911, but we're setting up for the bond funding and the project as a whole. We want to capture the entire project in one place. So the piece of the project that's occurring in 2019 is that consulting. We're going to do adjustments to move that into the capital fund so that we capture all the costs of that project going forward. We have activities set up, so we'll have a right time. So basically, we're just taking it out of non-union and putting it in.
So this is covering the salary adjustments and everything we were talking about last week.
No, this one is just the consultant for P25.
Okay.
That's the only piece that's happening in 2019.
Yeah.
And some of that expense is already incurred.
Okay.
We're just gonna move it over so that we have full project costs, so that 5 years from now, we can say this cost us,
Yeah.
I don't know, put a number out there because we don't know yet.
Any additional questions for Dana? Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item 7, and I'll call on Melissa Smith to discuss the capital project request for Claremont Nursing Rehabilitation Center.
Good morning. The nursing home is asking for approximately $22,700 for a subscription service to a product that's called CareWatch. Yesterday, October 1st, CMS transitioned to a new payment system called the patient-driven payment model. This model focuses on clinical characteristics of the individual resident. There are 5 components that are included in the calculation: physical therapy, occupational, speech, nursing, non-therapy ancillary services, which are medical comorbidities. Based on this information entered on the MDS, CareWatch will prompt the person to look at individual items that may increase either the nursing score or the non-therapy ancillary score, thus increasing the case mix index and maximizing the reimbursement. With PDM, the primary diagnosis places you in a clinical category. Many symptom codes that are currently used for individuals' care stay may classify the patient into a return to provider category. With this subscription service, it will generate an alert to that, and we can take another look at it to make sure that we're billing appropriately and make sure the billing is as smooth as possible and without things being kicked back. CareWatch is also an MDS scrubber that Cantata currently does not have. The Cantata is the software program that we currently use. The scrubber will help identify declines or documentation concerns prior to submitting the MDS to CMS, providing the opportunity to evaluate the information entered for accuracy or the need for additional services. Also available with CareWatch, it will allow us to view the 5-star rating in real time and quality measures to assist for early identification for needs for process changes through the quality assurance program. In short, we will achieve higher reimbursement through identifying MDS issues earlier in resident assessment process. Facilities can improve accuracy and minimize claims issues. We'll reduce survey citations. Facility can easily identify errors for resolution, minimizing risks and efficiently transmitting MDS assessments without potential errors. It will also boost infection surveillance. It will expand the surveillance capabilities to save time for staff with infection-related events, capturing outbreaks before they became even a larger issue. And finally, meet regulatory compliance, mitigate monetary penalties, and care quality impact through adherence to mandate performance measures. I brought Dawn. Do you have anything else to say? She's our MDS.
If you have questions, I gladly will answer those, but this pretty much sums it up. So if
you need any clarification on it. The cost is for 3 years, over a 3-year period.
Any additional questions, Commissioners?
Yeah, I have some. I'm trying to understand the paperwork here.
Okay.
So, maybe I'm the only one, but it says here, we've got 2 pieces of paper talking about $22,700 over 3 years, right?
Right.
Okay. And then we got another piece of paper saying total 5-year cost $38,500.
That was for the IT white paper that I had to do to submit to Mark Adams for IMTF. They asked for a 5-year study on that.
Okay, so is the cost $22,700 over?
It's a 3-year contract.
3 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the 5-year business then with
It is simply answering a question on a form that IMTO has us complete.
So when we ask for data on projects, we ask for total 5-year costs to keep things standard so that we can look over the 5-year period for the cost. But the contracts don't always line up to that 5-year period. Sometimes they're 1 year, sometimes they're 3 year, they could be 10 year. But to keep things standard within the county, we always ask for 5 years.
that? All right, so at the end of year 3, are we going to be renewing this contract?
Probably.
All right, so then,
Ideally, yes.
so then essentially the projection is $38,500 over 5 years, right? That's what we're talking about.
For a 5-year period, it costs us that, yes, but the contract's for 3.
Okay. All right, got it.
Any additional questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to agenda item 8, contracts and grants. Agenda item 8, Roman numeral 1, commissioners, there were no agenda items to be presented to you today for consideration. So we'll move on to agenda item 8, Roman numeral 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases and decreases to the county. And I'll call on Joan to discuss the summary agreement for aging and community services. Joan?
Good morning. As Sandy said, there's 7 this morning. These are all state pass-through funding for PA rate services for all 7 contracts. The first one is the Center for Independent Living. The new contract this year is $29,160, which is a decrease of $2,000 from last year. Then we have Franklin County. The new contract is $19,346 with an increase of $2,686. Third is Mifflin Juniata County. The new contract is $15,806 with a decrease of $1,900 from last year. Then Penn Care Support Services, new contract $29,160 with a decrease of $980 from last year. Perry County Aging, new contract $2,090 with an increase of $478 from last year. And United Disability Services, new contract $19,140, decrease of $660 from last year. And finally, York County, total contract $1,760, an increase of $1,040 from last year.
Any questions for Jeff?
No.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, I'll call on Melissa Smith again to discuss the CRC agreement. Melissa?
This is the same thing, this is just for the contract. The first thing is for the capital project, this is for the 3-year contract. I don't know if you need me to go through anything else, or you good? There is a outstanding issue on that contract with Keith,
The disclaimer.
the indemnification, right? And I have to get clarification from him. He wrote me back this morning, late last night, and I just want to make sure how he wants that worded.
Okay, so that will be fixed for Monday.
If I can get a hold of Keith and get exactly what he wanted it to say, will be good.
And if not, I would recommend approving it pending Keith's adjustments.
Yes. Any questions? Moving on to agenda item C, I'll call Brian Simon to discuss the agreement for drug and alcohol. Brian?
Good morning, Commissioners. Our outpatient providers have been having staffing issues, especially in the Carlisle area over the last month or so. And because of those issues, we would like to add a new provider. That provider is Pennsylvania Counseling Services. They have an office here in Carlisle. They're fully staffed, and we'd like to bring them in on the rates that we pay all the other outpatient providers. Any questions?
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, for agenda item D, is Kirk calling in or who
I
calling
have
Kirk?
to give them.
Okay.
Good morning, Kirk Center speaking.
Hey, Kurt, Board of Commissioners here. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. I'm good.
We're here to talk about the liquid fuels finance agreement.
Sure. So, Commissioners, this is the agreement with HRG for our 3 fast-track bridge projects that we discussed at a finance meeting last month. So, the proposal here would be to take Bridge Y20, which is Roush Bridge in Dickinson Township, C17, which is Bergner Bridge in Lower Frankfort Township, and Bridge F1, which is Stonewall Bridge in Southampton Township, and move them forward to engineering and construction. We do go through the process here with HRG and do the engineering work with construction that occurred in 2021. The agreement that's before you today is with HRG for engineering and design of all 3 bridges, and then also construction phase services through construction of all 3 bridges. Agreement total here is $868,000, $525.
Any questions, Commissioners?
Kirk, I got one. So this is part of the, called bridge bundle, right?
Yes.
All right, are we saving any money as a result of that?
Yeah, so the intent here, Jim, is that we take these 3 bridges, they're similar in size, similar in location. HRG estimates we might be able to save between 15 to 20% by putting these 3 bridges together and then bidding them all through. So we'll be monitoring that. Hopefully we'll see some savings from doing these all 3 together.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirk.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
See you, Kurt.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Next, moving on to agenda item E, and Annie Stray is here to discuss the 4 agreements for MHIDD.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, we have 4 contracts to share with you for your approval. 1819, the first one is an amendment from the prior fiscal year. And this is with the Advocacy Alliance, specifically around individuals with developmental disabilities. Actually, we serve as the pass-through for this contract. So the state provides the resources and we just basically help pay the bills. So it's an increase of $11,922. So it's an amendment for 1819. And it's the healthcare quality unit and health risk assessment specifically for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as investigations into incident management things. The next 3 are all from this fiscal year. The first is with Rapid Transit Transportation Provider. It's actually a decrease of $11,794 from the prior fiscal year based on projections from utilization last year. And Diacon for mental health is a decrease of $1,000, and that's just based on utilization from the prior fiscal year. So the contract now is $4,000. And then there's a new contract, and this is Geneva Worldwide, and this is language interpretation, and this is to assist us in being culturally sensitive as well as complying with the ADA, providing language interpretation for individuals who don't speak English as their first language. So the contract is for $4,000. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Next, move on to agenda item 9, and I'll call on Claudia, who is joining us BTC to discuss the Sarah Summit donation. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, everybody. The Public Safety is asking for the board's approval to receive sponsorship money to be used to offset the expenses to host the annual LEPC Sarah Summit being held on October 10th. We have one sponsor, the UGI Utilities Incorporated, and a silver level sponsorship for $515. The approval of this sponsorship would bring our current quantity of sponsors to 17, with a total funds of $8,915. That will, we don't know the exact amount yet, but that will likely take care of 100% of the cost of the summit. Any questions?
Thank you, Claudia.
Sure.
Okay, agenda item 10, I'd like to call on John Gross to discuss ordinance 2019-5 regarding hotel room tax.
Commissioners, as I explained to you at the Finance Committee meeting last week, your solicitor's office and my office had worked together to change our present hotel tax ordinance and rules and regulations to bring that up to compliance with two pieces of state legislation, Act 18 of 2016 and Act 109 of 2018, that are now in effect. Terminology, definitions had to be added to our present ordinance. Rules and regulations also had to be changed to bring our present statute, our present local ordinance up to comply with the state statutes that had been passed, mostly because of now, as everyone, booking agents such as Travelocity, Airbnb, those sorts of things, and to bring those groups into compliance who have now registered. As of now, there's 13 of those entities that have got registered with the Commonwealth. So as soon as the commissioners sign and adopt the ordinance and the rules and regulations at your meeting, we will then get those out and send those notifications out to those booking agents who have registered with the Commonwealth, and hopefully more in the future.
Any additional questions for John?
Just that our motion should be to advertise the ordinance, I presume?
I don't think it's been advertised yet, so correct, that would be your action on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Agenda item 11, I would like to call on Commissioner Lupo to discuss the local emergency planning committee appointment recommendations.
Thanks, Sandy. The LEPC has recommendations for 3 individuals: Leonard Arena, John Owen, and Jason Maddox, to appoint them for a 5-year term. I noticed the date here, though. I double-checked that. It looks like that should be December 31st, 2024. But that can be corrected for Monday. So the recommendation is for these 3 individuals to be appointed to the LEPC.
Thank you, Commissioner Lupo.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item 12, Brent Durham will be discussing authorization to advertise for bids regarding janitorial services for the Cumberland County Government Building. Brent?
Good morning, Commissioners. We're seeking authorization to advertise to receive bids for janitorial services at the Cumberland County facilities, the new courthouse, East Wing, old jail, domestic relations, Dennis Marion Building, and leased areas of Business Central. The bids that we will be receiving will be for a 2-year contract with a 1-year option of renewal.
Any questions for Brent? Thank you, Brent. Agenda item 13 is discussion of capital project requests, and we begin with Brad King, who's joined us to discuss the capital project request for CNRC. Brad?
Good morning, Commissioners. We're asking approval to purchase 142 nightstands to replace all the nightstands in the tower building. Existing nightstands are 20 years old or older, very bad shape. They're particle board, so the finishes wore off. You can't stand it or repair it. A lot of the doors have been broken beyond repair. The 142 will be able to replace one for each resident in the tower building and give us 2 extras. So in case we have one damage, we can swap them out and then repair. So we're asking approval that the estimated cost is about $35,000. Not capital, but not routine expense. Any questions?
Good morning, Commissioners. We seek approval for purchase of software to help us evaluate latent fingerprints in our laboratory. This is a recommended piece of software to help us get through our ISO 17025 accreditation at $37,100.
Any questions for Eric? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Brent to discuss 22 HP Avon articulating loader capital project. What a mouthful.
This request for your consideration is for a purchase of a 22 horsepower Avant articulating tractor loader. This will come with 3 attachments we're asking for. The total purchase price will be $39,220.70. This tractor is a multi-use versatile tractor because Avant has over 90 attachments that are available to fit on this particular tractor. Some of the attachments that they have are they have a tamper, they have a breaker, concrete saw, backhoe, bush hog. And I mention all of these because these are attachments that we have rented in the past. In the past, when we rented these, we've had to rent the piece of equipment along with the attachment. So we'll be able to save, if we undo the base tractor, we'll be able to save there. We've also, when we've rented these, we've used these for projects at the nursing home, public safety, Cycle Center, a couple different times at Master Gardeners at Allen Road. We've used it in the courthouse and at the old jail. So there's several other departments that would benefit from the county ownership of this tractor. Our primary usage, what we're looking at is for snow removal. Specifically snow removal in the downtown area on sidewalks and a few of the tight parking lot areas downtown. For us to be efficient, this is where we would come into asking to purchase 3 attachments. The first attachment we would be looking at is a high-capacity bucket. This bucket would be used for lifting of heavy snows, deep snows. Would also give us the ability to move piles of snow, and also when we need to move snow off site, would give us the ability to load trucks with that. Multi-use function of that also would be we could utilize it for spreading hand guard. We could also utilize it when we do paving projects to move sand around. The second attachment we're asking for is a snow blade. The snow blade will be for the 5-inch to 12-inch snows in that range, and it'd be just to push snow, and it's just for snow. The third attachment that we're asking for is the one that I'm most excited about. It's a 43-inch brush. The brush will be used for light snows, 4 to 5 inches or less. The very cool feature of the brush is it will clean snow directly to the surface. And when you clean snow directly to the surface, what savings you will find is that there'll be less ice melt application required. To give you an idea, when we spread ice melt in the downtown buildings here, we use about $200 worth of ice melt every time we make an application round. Depending on the duration of the storm, the timing of the storm, sometimes we do that 2 or 3 times in a storm. So there's a savings there. Just to give you an idea of our responsibility when it snows, the facilities department, we have responsibility of about 4,000 lineal feet of sidewalk. That's about 3/4 of a mile of sidewalk that we have to take care of. You turn that to square footage, we're looking at about 40,000 square foot of area. That's just shy of an acre of land. I read one time where they said the average snow, average square foot of snow, an inch deep, weighs 1.25 pounds. If you multiply that times the 40,000 square feet I just mentioned, if we have a 4-inch snow, our guys are tasked with moving about 200,000 pounds of snow. So it just gives you what we're facing when it snows. For cost savings, I would love to stand here and tell you, give you a figure of exactly what we would save cost-wise. And I cannot do that because every snow, there's different variables, whether it's wet snow, dry snow, the duration of the snow, the timing, the outdoor air temperature, surface temperatures, all come into play as to the amount of savings that we would save with this type of machine. What I can tell you is on a typical like 3-inch snow downtown here, we end up having about 15 to 20 man hours of labor to take care of that snow. My projection with this equipment, with these 3 attachments, is I think we'd be able to lower that down to 6 to 9 man hours. So it'd be significant labor savings. And then again, depending on the timing of the storm, sometimes we're taking care of the storm 2 or 3 times during the day if it's a Monday through Friday. So the savings gets multiplied there. And the depth of the snow, obviously as it gets deeper, the savings would increase. The benefits, as I see, of having this would be with a quicker cleanup time of the downtown sidewalks. There'd be less time that the snow is laying on the sidewalks, less chance of public employees of slippage if we can get that moved quicker. Be less potential injury for our crew. We would have labor savings, less ice melt. We have the ability to move large piles of snow. That's always a little bit of contention with us. Sometimes we have the way the snow gets pushed around here, we get piles that melt and they run water down in areas where people are parked, and it's always a struggle for us to get piles of snow moved. And then the multi-use function, the fact that we would be able to use the brush for cleaning up of the sidewalks, cleaning our parking lots throughout the year, the spreading of the mulch, the sand, those are all beneficial factors as well. Any questions?
So Brent is going to be housed where?
The tractor will be housed at the old jail here because we're primarily will be using it downtown for snow. It'll be used, throughout the county the rest of the year. But
And you have the ability to move that?
we do have a trailer. We do have a trailer that we can move that to the different locations as need be. That price is also a Coast Guard price. The warranty on the tractor is a 2-year warranty, 2 years or 1,000 hours, whichever comes first, and the attachments are 1 year warranty.
Any additional questions?
Sounds like a diesel Swiss Army knife.
That's
a good thing.
Brian, you may not know this, what's the expected life of this piece of equipment? Would you guess?
I mean, it's always going to depend on the amount of hours used. I would guess that if the company is willing to go 1,000 hours under the warranty, they would be looking at least 1,000 hours before you start to develop, any issues with it. I can't really answer those for sure.
Any additional questions?
What's the next attachment you got? Just curious. Surely you have something in mind.
Well, with 90 attachments, it's such a wide range. The one thing, to answer your question, they have pallet forks that fit on this thing. And what the benefit of that would be for us here is many times when we get large deliveries of furniture downtown here, we have to hand unload piece by piece. Typically the stuff is on a skid in the truck. So if we had pallet forks, we would probably use this machine to offload that. The other benefit of having the pallet forks would be, for instance, Justin at E-Cycle, he has a forklift down there. If his forklift fails, we'd be able to run this machine down to assist him. So, and that's a minor. The pallet forks, I'm sure, are not very expensive. I don't know what they cost. They do have a snow blade that it will expand to 12 feet. It's 4 or 5 feet in width, and you can control the left side it goes out, the right side it goes out. And boy, that would be sweet when that goes down. But
I think you get too excited.
It's very expensive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just buy it already. Holy cow.
Next, I'll call on Mark Adams to discuss the IMTO capital project request.
I'd like to buy exchange on wheels. Good morning, Commissioners. Our current email application is version 2010, and Microsoft, of course, is ending its life in January next year. So we have a couple options, either by exchange 2019 or 2016. The end of life of those are both the same in 2025. We already have some licenses of 2016, so to save costs, we're just going to get the exchange 2016 version. It saves us about $50,000. Still, though, it's still going to cost about $105,000 for the capital project for that.
And they'll have the same security backdrop, I
Yeah,
assume, so.
yeah, they're very similar products. There's just some, new flavors of the application and bells and whistles with 2019. But security, what we really look for is the end of life and how long will Microsoft continue to maintain that, and they're both projected to be 2025. So they're the same to me, so there's really not much of a reason to go to the newer version and spend $50,000 extra.
This is for Outlook.
Yes.
When you get the version that says, don't click on that.
Any questions, Commissioners? Thank you, Mark. Next, I'll call on Claudia Gardner once again to discuss the two capital project requests for public safety. Hi, Claudia.
All right, good morning again. So Public Safety is seeking your approval to proceed with two capital projects. Both of them are IT related, and we have worked with IMTO to develop these projects. The first being the purchase and installation of two replacement Vesta 911 call taker workstation computers and the associated licensure in the amount of $49,009. The call taker positions currently operate off of laptops versus workstations. So we want to replace those with actual workstations, and of course that means associated licensure. We'll be repurposing those laptops, however, to our mobile command equipment and the associated license that go with it. And that will enable us to have a more direct reroute of any 911 calls should we have to evacuate our building. The two new computer positions are being purchased from CenturyLink as part of HGAC contract pricing, and it does include a customer loyalty discount. The total equipment and labor costs are $45,664 with a 3-year maintenance cost of $1,115 per year, and this is 911 eligible.
Any questions for Claudia?
Okay.
Go ahead, Claudia.
All right, the second capital project request is the replacement of our Avaya department phones, which provides the 10-digit service to our building, with a Cisco phone system with a not-to-exceed project budget of $79,364. We've been able to extend the life of our phone system in our building for a few additional years, but we're now faced with the end-of-life and support situation. And by purchasing a Cisco phone system, we'll now be in concert with the county's phone system that you all transferred to a year or two ago. The capital project includes 3 years of maintenance, which will bring us to the same renewal period as the county contract. And then Mark Adams and his IMTO staff will be able to negotiate a countywide comprehensive renewal package at that time, because we'll all be on the same system with the same provider. Again, this is a not-to-exceed capital project budget of $79,364, and that cost can be split between the general fund and the 911 uniform fund. The exact split of that I do not have yet, so we get to the purchase contract section. We'll have to determine which of those devices and licensure are directly applicable to 911 and which are general fund. But I'll have that at the time of the purchase contract.
Any questions for Claudia?
Any questions on that one?
We're good. Thank you, Claudia.
Right. Have a good day.
You too. Next, I'd like to move on to Commissioner's Liaison Report and begin with Commissioner DeFilippo.
Thanks, Sandy. I don't have the official reports this cycle, but I do want to just hit a couple topics. already mentioned, the Board of Commissioners did attend a breakfast held by the Greater Harrisburg Area Association of Realtors, where we discussed our accomplishments and our vision for the future. Also earlier last week, we had a municipal advisory board meeting, which was extremely well attended. And we discussed a couple of different topics, with the main topic being our P25 radio system. Also a very good presentation on the 2020 census, and I think it was well received by many municipal reps that were there. Also, I attended the annual Cumberland County Farm Bureau meeting this week, and the main topic of discussion was Sunday hunting. And also, there were some resolutions passed, one of which dealt with stormwater runoff onto our farms. And that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Depot.
Thank you.
Commissioner Parks.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. The Housing and Redevelopment Authority boards met Thursday afternoon, September 19th. 30 applications have been received for the county's 2020 Federal Community Development Block Grant and Home Program funding. As is usually the case, the amount of funding requested exceeds the funding that we expect. The applications are currently being reviewed for basic compliance with the rules, and we can expect a recommendation to us in the near future on that. As funding becomes available, the Housing Authority is pulling from a wait list for the county's Housing Choice Voucher Program. As of September, 1,219 Cumberland County residents were receiving federal voucher assistance to help with the payment of their rents. That's up 3 from the prior month. The Housing Authority has also relaunched in this past month its first-time homebuyer workshops. There had been a suspension of the county's program with the retirement of the Housing Authority's previous housing program specialist. But during that transition, workshops were still being offered to county residents by Advantage Credit Counseling and Tri-County Community Action. The Aging Advisory Board met Friday, September 20. Raymond Soto, our county's nursing home administrator, attended, was introduced, and provided the advisory board members with an update on what's going on at our nursing home and the planning for the future. As my colleagues know, because of the dearth of available funding from our state aging block grant, we were forced, beginning July 1, as many other counties had done previously, to create a wait list for options services for seniors in their homes. The good news is that we've been able to manage it pretty well so far, with fewer than a dozen on the wait list. Senator Casey is expected to pay a visit to one of our county's senior centers tomorrow, Mechanicsburg Place. I believe the senator is expected to arrive around 10:30, although I need to verify that. The senator has invited all of us to join him if our schedule permits. I attended before the Municipal Advisory Board meeting, the annual picnic of the county's Conservation District Board on Tuesday evening, September 24th, and I participated in presenting this year's Conservation District Awards. This year's Educator of the Year was Holly Smith of Audubon, Pennsylvania. South Mountain Partnership was named this year's Conservation Organization of the Year. The Clean Water Award went to JVH Excavating. Farmer of the Year was Zane Garber of Rock Solid Dairy. And the recipient of the Chesapeake Bay Clean Water Farm Award went to Bob Kiefer of Hard-Earned Acres. The Harrisburg Area Transportation Authority met Friday, September 27th, and there's a number of things that I would like to share with my colleagues as a result of that. First off, that's largely the result of what I would say is this board's prodding, is moving forward along with PennDOT in a renewed focus on planning for improvements along Interstate 81, the 100-mile corridor from the intersection with the Lebanon County Burke County line all the way south through Dauphin and Cumberland and Franklin counties to the Maryland border. The project team includes all three of the affected MPOs, PATS, and then Lebanon and Franklin counties, PennDOT, and the Federal Highway Administration, where the initial effort will be the establishment of 4 or 5 focus areas where improvements are most needed, while the push continues for funding for what we all know is already long overdue, and that is capacity expansion to at least 3 lanes in both directions all the way on Interstate 81 from the Lebanon Works line to the Maryland border. Anyway, the I-81 improvement strategy is going to include a healthy dose of public participation, a project website, and a video. I'm hoping to get that material as soon as possible so I can turn it over to Samantha so we can get this up on our website as well. There's going to be a kickoff meeting among the 3 MPOs, PennDOT, and other stakeholders, tentatively set for November 12th at 9 a.m. at Army Heritage Education Center here in Carlisle. So more on all that still to come. Meanwhile, as you may have noticed, there's a lot of work on Interstate 81, most of the maintenance, and it's getting underway from the Franklin County line the whole way to Carlisle. On September 8th, PennDOT launched a $14.8 million, it's always important, I think, to point out how much this stuff costs. A $14.8 million project to repair and resurface a 10.5-mile section of I-81 from Penn Township north to High Street, the High Street interchange here in Carlisle. According to PennDOT, this section of the interstate sees about 47,000 vehicles a day, and they've promised that most of the work, which can be expected to cause delays, on top of the delays we already have. But most of the work is to be performed during the overnight hours. The project does include the installation of some more cable median barriers and 1 or more electronic messaging signs. In addition, a $26.5 million resurfacing project on I-81 from Penn Township south to the Franklin County line is also getting underway. Again, most of the traffic disruption is expected to occur during the overnight hours when there will be periodic lane closures. Both of these projects will unfortunately be going on for a while. I guess that's the price of progress. But completion on the first one is not expected until 2021, and on the second one, 2022. So you're seeing a lot of work on Interstate 81 south of Carlisle. On the cable median barrier front, something that this board has pushed for some time, at least a temporary safety fix on I-81 to prevent the incidence of deadly crossover head-on collisions. Cable median barriers and or in some cases right past the river cement barriers have been installed finally on Interstate 81 from Route 15 all the way to the intersection of Portsville Road. Some of you might recall that just a couple of years ago, that was the area where the location of a deadly crash, head-on crash that claimed the life of a young Central Penn college student. So we need to keep up the fight for additional major improvements to I-81, especially in the area of needed capacity expansion. This is not only about the economic future of our county, but more importantly, is about the safety of our county's traveling public and those who might be happening to be traveling through the area. I would just like to think that precisely because of this board's unanimous voice in bringing attention to this issue, that we're finally beginning to see some action. And I think it will be important for our county to continue to speak up and speak out to keep this progress going. So the Erford Road Bridge Replacement Project in East Pennsbrook Township is almost done. They said it's going to be completely wrapped up by the end of this month. And for those of you who are familiar with the Lemoyne bottleneck, HATS approved a study that was done by Gannett Fleming, which proposes some alterations aimed at not only improving traffic flow with some signalization improvements at the light at Market Street, the Market Street Bridge and Front Street in Williamsburg, but importantly providing for some safety improvements for bicyclists and pedestrians from 3rd Street in Lemoyne down through the bottleneck to the Market Street Bridge. The fact is, the way it is today, riding a bike down through the bottleneck from Lemoyne to the bridge is, in my view, taking their life into their own hands. So hopefully with some recommendations contained in the Gannett study and with them being implemented, we can make some things a little bit better for both vehicular traffic and bicyclists and pedestrians in that area. Finally, I was pleased last evening. I know that Commissioner Eichelberger was able to drop in ahead of me, but I was pleased last evening to attend a gathering sponsored by our Cumberland, New York area local defense group of our state's, our area's rather, top military officers and our congressional, state, and local elected officials to discuss the forward movement of our collaboration to retain and improve our military facilities in this area that are so important to our economy. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, I don't have a lot to report, just a couple of summary items. I believe we're all in attendance at a lot of events together, so I don't have a significant amount of updating, but I'm glad you mentioned the Realtors Breakfast, especially in light of the fact we just had the presentation today regarding the housing issue, which is obviously dovetails with our redevelopment initiative, and a number of other key issues that we're going to face going forward. So glad to see that we're all able to provide some attention on a key issue. A lot more on that coming, no doubt. Also attended the Security Committee quarterly meeting. I believe we were all three there, right? That's pretty good. Let's see. Public Safety Review Team, same thing. Key issues, we were all there. The Farmland Preservation, Public Observance, of course, very nicely covered by the media. And let's see, in terms of my specific liaisons, the damage contracts, Danny covered earlier. Planning, I believe we've all been involved in all the planning issues. I don't have anything to add to that other than I'm waiting on an update from Jason regarding the last household hazardous waste event that we held. I want to get some numbers on that, but I anecdotally heard good things about that. So EDC will continue to move forward on the major planning and visioning exercise that we're doing, and we're going to be meeting with the facilitator on that next Monday. Pretty extensive meeting to map out our plan for that, for future planning on Katy. Obviously, a lot of key issues, the housing one being one, redevelopment in general being another major one. So this is a real opportunity for Katy in a time of enormous change here, a lot of key decisions to be made for them to identify and provide a platform for us to address some key issues. So we're taking that process very, very seriously. Vince mentioned the Municipal Advisory Board meeting, a great presentation from our public safety people, great presentation on the census issue, two really important issues. And again, I'll just echo what Vince said. We have really terrific attendance there. And I think this was probably the best example we've had in a while of just how useful that board could be. We've had attendance up and down, but we provided some information of real value municipalities, and I don't think any of them are going to be in a position, especially with the public safety radios, to say, we didn't know. We're going to continue pushing those messages out to make sure they're widely held. This is a really valuable forum for us to reach them, and I think it's reflected in their responsiveness to both attend and participate very actively in that forum. So just hats off to everybody. Samantha did a very nice job in terms of fashioning the communications things. We appreciate that. Cindy Clark did a fantastic presentation on behalf of the census people. So I just was really pleased to see how successful that turned out. And tomorrow, of course, is the township officials, the second-class townships. I am right on that, right? That's why we moved this meeting to today. So I think we're all in participating in that. I'm sure we'll put on a good information forum for them in that regard. So we'll try to have something to report out on that at the next workshop. That is everything I can think of offhand.
I would like to report that an executive session was held on the following date in 2019, September 24th at 2:30 p.m. regarding personnel issues. I would also like to request an executive session be held directly following this meeting, also regarding personnel issues. Under other business, we have one item, and Bob DeGrasso will speak to that.
Commissioners, I'm asking for action today for you to approve the ICMARC ACH debit authorization form you should have in front of you. This is, when we went to our new provider, this was one of the changes that was made. Instead of sending them a paper check for employee withholdings, we will now do it electronically. This form authorizes ICMA to go in and take the money out of our account on paydays based on the file we upload telling them what the amount is. I had to clear it with the bank, a couple things before I was ready to go. There is a 14-day setup period, so the sooner we can get this approved and sent to them, the better. So I'm asking for action today to authorize this form. Keith reviewed it, he's fine with
Okay, well, so we're make a motion to approve the ICMARC ACH debit authorization.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Bob. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board today? Okay, hearing none, we